Book 2, welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, and it's time for a bit of a bookish update, and I also have a little haul for you guys. So let me put this. So let's talk about where I am at with my reading. So I did not. Last month was Jane Austen July, so I did not read any. The only genres I focused on were, or categories I should say, because in the end I feel like classics isn't a genre per se, because I think classics have multiple genres within it, but it's just a label for older books that had been around even before I was born. And like I read some historical fiction, I started out the month with the historical fiction, and like I said, focused on Jane Austen type content books that were either I reread Mansell Park. I read a nonfiction about Jane Austen, and I read one of her contemporaries, Anne Radcliffe, and I've read a sort of retelling, which was Charlotte by Helen Moffat. So I'm making up for my not reading fantasy in July for this month, August. So I did start out the month with The Burning God, which is the final book in the Poppy War trilogy. So now I feel like I can read her other two books. It's amazing that she's got quite a lot of books on her. R. Kwong has got quite a lot of books already that she's published. She's published Yellowface, which just came out this year, and then I think it was last year, either last year or earlier this year, Babel came out. So and she had this trilogy, and then she has those two books. She's got a lot of books. She's doing pretty well for herself as far as getting books out there and published. But I really enjoyed this. I'm glad to say I finished it. It deals, with war and God and having powers of a god and how it can consume your humanity, which actually another book I'm currently reading also has to do with gods. And it shows the ugly side of war and how there's no really black and white situation, as in, good versus evil in war. Like, it's just a bunch of people who think they're doing the right, that they're in the right. Now there are, of course, some people who will do horrible, things that come off as evil. Like, Hitler wanting to commit a genocide and kill all the Jews. So that's pretty evil to me. But, now in this case, we're in the perspective of Rin, the main character, and she might see the Dragon Republic, the Hesperians, I think that's the side that she's fighting against. She might see them as evil, because they're, although I don't think they're trying to commit genocide and kill the Spearleys, I think they're just trying to enslave them. I already forgot. But either way, this is really good. I like a lot of the stuff it deals with. I actually like Rin as the main character. She's unlikable. And I think for most people, you gotta have something about the main character, about an unlikable main character that's charming. And, I don't know if Rin, for most people, I guess Rin doesn't have that one little thing. But I think she's awesome. She's a screwed up human being, but she's so fun to read about. She's such a compelling character to learn about and to see the world through her eyes. And the whole god power is really cool. And I might do a review. I think I've reviewed all the other two books as well, so I might do a review of this one. I don't know yet. But I had read The Dragon Republic, the second book, last year in July. So it's been a little over a year since I read that one. That was around the time Terry was visiting, and that was kind of the book that week that she was visiting. I focused mostly on that one. And it took a while because we were not just reading, we were also watching like Netflix, and we were showing her around where I live and stuff like that. Um, so I didn't get around. So it took me a while to read that one, but I did read that, and So I figured I didn't want to get to this. I didn't want it to be too long before I got this one. And this is the longest I was willing to accept, was a year, a little over a year, because I am trying to break the habit of taking way too long to read the next books and series. But yeah, this was really good. I did decide that I'm gonna pass on this trilogy, like give it to the roast office, donate it, or something, or Black Castle Books, because I did love this series, this trilogy. I had a good time with it. It was really fun. But the question is, I have to ask myself, would I read these books again? And I decided probably not, even though I did enjoy it. I mean, maybe I would, but I feel like I can't question myself too much, because then I'll never unhaul anything, and I don't have the space to keep every single book that I buy. So I gotta unhaul some books, and so I decided to unhaul it, and it will be going to a good place, one of the used bookstores. But yeah, I had a good time with this. So and I'm glad I finished it. It's another trilogy I can mark off my list of books series that have been on hold for a while. So I'm glad that I read that before, because my sister decided to come to visit, to give the kids one last vacation before school starts. So she came to visit, and I wanted to have one book read before they came. So because I knew that I wouldn't be getting a lot of reading done when they were here, although I did get more than I expected, than I anticipated. Like I read at the pool, and during times when they were watching like a movie or something, and like if they went somewhere, I opted not to go. And then of course I had to work a couple times while they were here, so during my 15-minute break I read like a couple pages of the book I was reading, because like I said, I finished that one. And the book I was reading when they were here was this book, Bag of Bones. I had started this back last October, so I got into it pretty, like I was probably on I think chapter 8 or something at the time. And I had decided that I was gonna save this for summertime of this year. So, and I did talk about this book in that books and I recommend for summer reading, books I think that would be great for summer. So I did read this one, and I finished it like yesterday actually. This is a bit of a ghost story. It takes place at a lake house. So like I said in that video, it's perfect for summertime. And it's a writer that it's been 4 years since his wife has passed. He has writer's block. He's still grieving her loss, and he finally decides to go visit the lake house Sarah Laughs that they bought years ago. And right away, he starts to realize it might be a little haunted. And also, while he's here, he meets Maddie, a 21-year-old mother, single mother. Her husband Lance died, and it's just her and her daughter. And her daughter Kyra, and the way he met them was Kyra, wanted to go to the beach or the pool or something. Her mom was telling her, no, we can't go right now. So Kyra decides to walk there on her own. So she's walking the highway, and Mike sees her and picks her up. And you find out later that Maddie's father-in-law, a computer tycoon, Max Devereaux, has decided that he wants custody of the child. So Mike finds himself getting mixed up in a custody battle while he is trying to figure out why his lake house is haunted, the history of Sarah Laughs. And it's a really creepy, unsettling read. And I feel like this is one that it might not be for everyone. Although you could say that a lot about Stephen King's books, because I think he's a very polarizing author, and there's content in his books that's not for everybody. But I think, if you're not into ghost stories, or, some people can't relate to Mike because he's an older protagonist, and there's a big age gap between him and the love interest. And I'm sure you can guess who the love interest is after I've already mentioned her. And then not everybody cares about not everybody will be interested in the custody battle plot. I still think it was a good read. I will elaborate more by doing a review of this one next time I'm off. I am working tomorrow, but I have 3 days off. Although that might be spent visiting my grandma, because my mom waits for opportunities when I'm not working, because it's just easier to go to South Carolina to visit my grandma, because they don't have to worry about me. Since I don't drive, I always need a ride to work. And then also, I think she likes my dad and I, likes either myself or my dad and I going with her, to accompany her to see, to see my grandma. So, that might happen. So that might happen, and if that's the case, I probably won't do a review until I get back. Not right away, unfortunately, because as soon as I get back, I'll have to go back to work, and then, so maybe a couple days later, a day or two later, I might do a review. So it might be a while before you guys get this review. I mean, I might just do it today. I might film it today and then upload it. Actually, I might just do that. I'm gonna run errands with my mom, but I might film my review today of this, so that I don't have to worry about all that, not getting the chance until. So anyway, yeah, so I'm not gonna say too much about this. I'm just saying what I just said about it. But yeah, I'm glad I finished this book. And it was funny because my nephew, he does like reading. He loves reading, but he's only 8. So a book this size, he's not ready for. I mean, although he is reading Harry Potter. But he's not physically reading himself. My sister is reading it to them. And I actually I had the chance to buy the illustrated edition with the Jim K illustrations. I have been wanting to get those for myself, but I'm thinking, is it worth the money? I mean, it is a collector's thing, so I don't know. Maybe one day my mom will surprise me, because I did tell her I would love to buy them for myself. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get a nice little surprise, but that's probably expecting too much. But I had an excuse to buy one for them, so I bought them so they could be their own copy. That could be their copy. Because they were actually using their other grandma's copy of the books, of the Harry Potter books. So, yeah, so he's not reading it himself. It's been read to them by my sister. So he has not, but I say this because it was just funny that when I brought it with me to the pool to try to finish it at the pool, when we went to the pool yesterday, and he made a comment about, oh, you're concentrating really hard on that book. And, Mom was like, oh, she does it all the time. And so it's just funny that he was saying that, because clearly, he's not used to, doesn't realize that when you're a reader, that's what you're going to be doing that a lot. I mean, and he already has done that, because I see him, reading his own, attempting to read books. I don't know if he's actually, because I can't hear him. But yeah, so I just thought that was kind of funny that he said that. But yeah, so like I said, I will do a review at some point of this. And then, so now, in between, though, after I read The Burning God, I did start reading this particular book so that I could get a little bit read before my sister and them come. So I started the Sapphire Altar, which is the sequel to The Bladed Faith, which I just found out that because it does have in the back of the book that the third and final book was coming out next year. So I don't know if it's gonna be. I might still have to wait a year before it comes out in paperback. I don't. But this picks up where the last one left off, and what's This is the one I mentioned briefly when I talked about the burning god, that this also deals with gods and gods walking among us kind of situation, um and there's a lot more world building. It seems like there's already some more world building being established, because the characters right away are in a different location. Some of the characters have gone to a different location in this one. And the one thing that's driving me crazy is, so there was two big reveals at the end of the Blade of Faith, and which is all I'm going to say. I'm not, obviously I don't want to spoil it for you guys if you have not read the book. And this character, Cyrus, our main character, has found out something, and he opts not to share this because he feels like this other person needs to be the one to tell everybody this information, and that person won't. So it makes Cyrus look like a bad guy. It looks like he abandoned the group for no good reason, or for a silly reason, and it just pisses me off because I'm like, but he has a good reason. Like, I'm on his side in this particular issue, and I think he has a perfectly good reason why he left, why he made the decision he did. So I feel like he's being treated unfairly, and he's expected, to do something, and they assume, oh, he'll come back, and nope, he's not going to. So I think I'm gonna let you guys, I'm probably gonna put in the description box a tiny spoiler with this. So I'm wondering if this is supposed to be Cyrus on the cover. If this is supposed to be him, or maybe this is supposed to be the god incarnate. I don't know. Or the air incarnate. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is really good so far. It's very fast paced. It feels like there are moments of where the character moments and characters, like, right away. This book also deals a lot with fanaticism. And it's one of these things where I don't know, like, at the moment I have my side for what I believe, but then I always reserve that little bit of negative, being like, what if I'm wrong? What if this is not the case? And I'm very confident that it's this, but there's always a possibility that might not be the case, and the characters might be wrong. But this is really good. I'm really enjoying this. I did look at reviews, and not, and a lot of people seem really, think this is an improvement compared to the first book, and I enjoyed the first book. I thought the first book was really great. So if this is an improvement, I'm assuming this is going to be even better. Although, for most people, that is dangerous, because that's overhyping a book. But I've never been the kind of person who just gets, I've never felt like I've experienced, I have experienced a little bit where a book has been, not lived up to my expectations, but very rarely. Or, I've never been so hyped up about a book. Even this case, I'm not, so hyped that, oh, this has to be the best book ever because I've read the reviews. I'm just like, oh, well, it sounds like a lot of positive reviews, and they say it's even better, so maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But either way, I am enjoying it so far, and what's nice is it is a bit of a fast pace, or at least the chapters are super short. I can get through the chapters really quickly. Actually, the next chapter is really short. But, and now I have plenty of time. So I usually get through a lot of fantasy books like this really quickly, so. So that is that. So I'm also finally started doing this, John Adams. Not very far, obviously. I'm only, we're told some information about John Adams and his past. How he feels like he had a really nice, idyllic childhood, he's sure he's gonna be buried where his dad is and his grandfather, etc., are. His dad was an archdeacon in Massachusetts, a deacon in Massachusetts. And he loves reading. He loves learning things and knowledge and stuff. This is the person that I was always most intrigued by, because ever since like 1776, not the book by David McCullough, but the musical, that has kind of always been one of the music that has been part of my life. Like, our local community theater was doing a production of it. My dad wanted to be John Adams. They said he wasn't right for the part, but they did offer him Rutledge, which I think he would have killed that. He would have did a great job at that part, But he didn't want to do that part, and it was more because he's just being a bit of a, he's like, it was John Adams that he wanted to play. So. And then, like, I also, I have the movie adaptation version, and then I have the soundtrack of the revival starring Brent Spiner as John Adams. But, like, I have never seen I've only seen the amateur production of it with with the local community theater in our town at the time. So, I have seen some of the adaptation, the mini series based on the book of John Adams, but not all of it, because that's one of those ones that I have to be in the right mood for this kind of subject matter. Fortunately, stuff gets taken off of HBO, so I did not get to watch the whole thing, but once I'm done with this, maybe I'll put it on my Amazon wish list. But yeah, this was real. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this one so far, except for the stuff that I already just established. But I wanted to go ahead and fit this in because, like I said, I'm still trying to read more nonfiction, and slowly reading more and more each month of nonfiction until it becomes a habit. So I'm reading this one right now. I'm kind of reading this one right before I go to sleep. Or at least that's what I did last night. And I am also reading. I haven't yet, but I also want to read this one right before the end of the month, which is The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. Which, I mean, as long as East of Eden, so I really like these Centennial editions. I'm one of those people who does like the deckled edges. I think it's such a cool thing. It actually looks like an older book. Oh, I didn't realize on the little French flap there's skim marks on it. But all I know about this book is it's about the Job family, and they are traveling. I think they are trying to escape the Dust Bowl, I think. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so it's about the Great Depression. Okay, yeah, so they're an Oklahoma family, the Jodes. Okay, so they're traveling to California, which Steinbeck writes about California all the time. Like, East of Eden was about that. I think Canary Row also was in California. That was one of the ones I had started to read, like I got it from the library, and then I kind of lost interest. But I do have a collection, one of those Barnes & Noble, Barnes & Noble, I think, or maybe it might be Books A Million, those nice hardbacks, make it hardbacks, you know, look like an actual vintage book with like all their work in it or most of their work in it. I have one of those for Steinbeck, or at least his shorter work, not those are easy to read, but his shorter works. And I'm hesitant about that though, about keeping that, because you know sometimes it's easier to read individual copies of books rather than, you know, one big binder. But anyway, so I might start at least by the end of the month. We'll see what happens. Because I mean, look how long this one is. It's a pretty long book, so I don't know what will happen. I would like to get the Grapes around, but I mean, if anything, I would like to at least start it maybe in the last week of August, and then I'll just keep going in September. And one of the good things about not going to London in September is that at least I don't have to think about, okay, what book do I want to bring, you know, with me on that trip. So that, and I can read whatever I want to read. I mean, I could bring whatever book I want to read, but there's, you know, certain times where I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should bring one of my books that, you know, like a Dickens or an Austen book, and do I bring a really long book that will take the whole trip to read, you know, because I'm trying to just stick to one book. So it's a bit of a decision, and, you know, at least if we're not going in September, I don't have to worry about thinking about, you know, okay, whatever book I pick up will be, you know, I have to decide, will probably affect what book I bring with me on that trip. Okay, so now let's talk about the books that I recently purchased. Here is a little mini haul for you guys. Okay. Here they are so far. Okay, so first we have 1001 Nights Penguin Edition, Arabian Nights, Tales of 1001 Nights, Volume 1. I got this from the Roast Office. These first 3 books are from the Roast Office. And they did have the other 2 volumes, and the guy did remind me they might not be there next time. But I didn't want to buy like 6 books. So like I was, trying to raise, even though, it's the cheap, very cheap there, $4 or $5 at the most, but it's still gonna add up. I mean, I was already, had to already sift through and decide, because I picked several books. Took several books off the shelf to decide between, and I just barely was able to be like, okay, I'm not going to buy that one. Not going to buy that one, and not that one. So, and I did tell the guy I shop at Thrift Books online, so, which I think is all like, okay, I guess you can do that. One of these, like, it's just kind of awkward. Like, because of course he's trying to sell the books either way, so probably like one of these, okay, how do I respond to that? And so he's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess you can buy anywhere. But this is the first volume, and it's 1 to 209 stories, 1 through 294. I mean, it'd be nice if they were all there, but so yeah. Anyway, there is that. And then I also bought, so here are the other 2 books. So I also bought, so this is an author that I heard about from Emma of the Bookish Princess channel. I'd heard about this author before, Nancy Midford. Midford. And apparently this is kind of a bit of a series. Which, of course, it has this. I'm gonna have to take that off because then I can't look at the back of the back description, which is gonna be, because it's been on there for a while, so it's gonna be hard to take it off, and there's gonna be residue probably. I should see if some of the tricks people suggest, like, you know, hair dryer or something. See if, but anyway, this is about a family. So we are introduced to the Radlets. Sorry, I can't read the first sentence. We are introduced to the Radlets through the eyes of their cousin Fanny, who stays with them at Alconley, their Gloucester estate. Oh, Gloucester, is that British in England? Uncle Matthew's the blustering patriarch known to hunt his children when foxes are scarce. Aunt Sadie is the vague but doting mother, and the 7 Radlet children, despite the delights of their usual childhood, are recklessly eager to grow up. The first 3 novels featuring these characters, The Pursuit of Love, follows the travails of Linda, the most beautiful and wayward Radlet daughter, who falls first for a stuffy Tory politician, then an ardent communist, and finally a French duke named Fabrice. But yeah, I've heard a lot. Like I said, I've heard about this author from Emma from Bookish Princess. I thought I would try it out, and I thought it was kind of interesting that she falls for 3 different guys. They're complete, you know, one's a politician, one's a communist, and one's a duke. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Definitely probably really enlightens her knowledge base a lot. But yeah, so I feel like it's kind of a series. It sounds like it's a bit of a series where you get each member of the family story. So I'm gonna see if there's too bad I didn't know about the site before. It has a site on there for textbooks, because I didn't, you know, like back in 2018 when I took a British literature class. But yeah, so thought I would try that out. And then the last book was kind of inspired by our trip to London, which is The English Civil War. Now I did look at reviews, and maybe I shouldn't have bought it because a lot of people recommend if you're new to the subject matter, then maybe this is not the book, but I thought I would still try it, and it was $4, so, you know, I wanted to try it. And like I said, I'm trying to slowly get more into nonfiction, and I feel like sometimes on occasion, even though other people say negative things, there is always the possibility that you might not agree, might not see what they're seeing. Like people say this is very confusing, and they wanted different things that the book wasn't offering. So, but maybe I will feel differently. And like I said, it was only $4. So, and I'm trying to get more books on British history. You know, looking more about England, learning more about England. So I got that one. Okay, so these are the books I bought at Roast Office. These are the 3. And then the last book I bought before Justin and I got here, my parents went up to, actually look at mattresses. They're getting a new mattress for their bed. So I was like, oh, what? I'll go with you guys in case, and just to get out of the house. And then, I also asked, well, also maybe we could check and see if there's a bookstore close by. And there was a Barnes & Noble there. So, which I feel like Barnes & Nobles in North Carolina are all farther out than, Pinehurst. So, which I understand why people don't like Barnes & Noble, because it is a little more pricey, I feel like, than Books A Million. But Barnes & Noble, for me, it offers a lot more work, a lot more books. And I like the aesthetic of the store itself. I think it's really nice. And I do appreciate the Books a Million that I have. I mean, I wish it was could be a little bit bigger so we could actually have a bathroom for customers, so I wouldn't have to go to Michael's or Food Lion next door just to use the bathroom. Um, I know it'd be nice if there was a cafe in there. Like every time, when Terry visits, when Terry has visited so far, she's been here twice, and unfortunately, when we go there, if we go there, she can't really, we just go in there to look around, buy a book, and then that's it. We can't really just sit there and hang out. And the Roast Office does have that. It just does not necessarily have the ideal selection of books. So, now I'm a little more, open to trying things. I think Terry has her preferences, so. But there's a cafe there, so it's but either way, so, like I said, I kind of just like Barnes & Noble a little bit more at times, So, anyway, we went to Barnes & Noble, and I went in there, and I almost bought 2 Shakespeares, because Barnes & Noble, there's, I think I've told you guys this before, Barnes & Noble has a certain edition of the Shakespeare plays that I like, that I really love, and it's a lot cheaper to buy it at Barnes & Noble than to actually buy on Amazon. So, but I got sidetracked by other books. So, in fact, I almost bought Sandition, which is Jane Austen, the last novel she worked on that she didn't get to finish. And I almost actually bought, there was editions of, I think, Mansfield Park and Persuasion that I really thought were really beautiful. It was one I prefer over my current copy of Persuasion. But I ended up not buying them. And they also had the French facts and everything, so I really liked that. But that's not what I ended up getting. I ended up getting sidetracked to buy a Russian novel. This one, Life and Fate, by Vasily Grossman. I'm hoping I say that right. And it's translated by Robert Chandler. And I don't know if Robert Chandler is one of the regular authors that I've heard that translate the Russian classics. I have to check and see if he's one of the ones that I've heard translate them. But and this was the only one they had there for this one, and I really wanted to get it. And now the only problem is when it came to this one, I could only get one book. The Shakespeare plays, if I got those, I could get 2 of those. Not 2, but I could get 2 books. The one that's in the edition I really love, and then another edition, but I opted not to. Like I said, I opted to get this one instead. And this is a World War II story. So let me go ahead and read the back. A book judged so dangerous in the Soviet Union that not only the manuscript, but the ribbons on which it has been typed were confiscated by the state. Ooh. So it was a banned book, at least in Russia. Life and Fate is an epic tale of World War II and a profound reckoning with the dark forces that dominated the 20th century, interweaving a transfixing account of the Battle of Stalingrad with the story of a single middle-class family, the Poshnikovs, scattered by the fortune from Germany to Siberia. Vasily Grossman fashions are an immense, intricately detailed tapestry depicting a time of almost unimaginable horror and even stranger hope. Life and Fate juxtaposes bedrooms and sniper's nest, scientific laboratories, and a gulag, taking us deep into the hearts and minds of the characters, ranging from a boy on his way to the gas chambers to Hitler and Stalin themselves. This novel of unsparing realism and visionary moral intensity is one of the supreme achievements of modern Russian literature. Oh, is this part of a series? It says, because on top it says the conclusion to Stalingrad. I don't know, unless they mean like it talks about the how Stalingrad ended. I don't know, but yeah, it just sound, even though I have said in the past that I just, there's so many books about World War II that it's like sometimes you want to read about different parts of history. It's like, I think I appreciate when I read World War II books that are about aspects of the history that I don't know a lot about. Like Ruta Sepetys, wrote some of her, I think she would be considered a YA author. Some of hers are about the people during World War II that we don't hear a lot about. And then I read An Enemy Like Me, which I haven't read yet, is another one that it talks about, is about I think a German character. So we don't know, so he would be like part of the, Hitler's people, So I thought that would be intriguing. I mean, so to me, that's kind of intriguing too, as well. But this is about Russia. And like I said, I'm trying to collect all these Russian classics and try them out. But here's the problem at the moment. I'm trying to focus on, John Adams, In Grapes of Wrath, The Sapphire Altar. But all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, but I want to read some of my Russian classics. And I'm in the middle of, not only that, but I'm in the middle of Brothers Karamazov. So I'm like, and that was kind of a slow going book. I mean, I like it when I pick it up. I enjoy the ride, but there, sometimes I put it down for a period of time and don't pick it up for a while. So I'm just kind of more into reading other, some of these other Russian classics or Russian books that aren't, some of Dostoevsky's other works like The Idiot or Demons by him, which I just bought. And I really like my copies of that I bought. Those were also a Barnes & Noble purchase. So, like I said, I'm just slowly adding to my Russian literature collection. And what's nice is it's really, I really like in this game with these, I really, I really like the typography of these. It's really, the print is really nice. Very easy to read. But, anyway. So, yeah, which, when I bought this book and I showed it to my mom, because she asked what I bought, and, like, she was like, why do you buy all the books you buy so big? Or why are classics so big? Which, not all classics are, but something along the lines of commenting on how big this book is. It's like, I mean, I kind of like it, I like the bigger books. It gets me excited because there's so much content, so much story, and so you really get to know the characters, without it being like a series. And I love series too, I do. But sometimes it means buying multiple books. So it's just, it can mean, it's kind of nice when it's just, the author just writes one book. With that story. So, yeah, so I am excited about this as well. So I don't know what I'm going to do because now I'm like really want to pick up some of my Russian novels. But I feel like I need to get some of these other ones out of the way. So, like, not out of the way as in, get them just done and over with, as in just get focus on those first and then get to the Russian classics. But I might just break and be like, I don't care, I have to read this Russian classic. Especially since I just talked about it and I was looking at the book, Life and Fate, or what is it? Yeah, Life and Fate. But anyway, so that is my reading update and my little mini haul. So What are you guys currently reading right now? How's your August reading going? Is it going well? Feel free to share in the comments below. I would genuinely love to know what you are currently reading, if there are anything you're excited about. And have you purchased anything recently, or even borrowed something from the library? I would love to know that too, which I think I need to start going to the library after this autumn. I'll probably start going to the library. So maybe September. I'll go to the library again, but I don't want to get too much. Probably the best thing is just get 1 or 2 books from the library. But anyway, I hope you guys like this video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Click subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and click the bell icon if you want to be notified when I upload. And I hope you are enjoying your reading, and I will talk to you all later. All right, bye.